call the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. We're gonna administer the oath for the superintendent.
Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Here we go. You want to take some walk to the front. Hold the Bible in your left hand. Raise your right hand. State your name.
Bryce Marquis.
Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, and that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as Superintendent of Jones County Public Schools, so help you God.
I do.
Congratulations, Superintendent. And just, who's the chairman of the board? I'm going to speak to the county commissioners later on tonight about the money that we brought in last year for the county. But also, I was going to announce there, I'll announce here, we took in about $89,000 last year for the Board of Ed for bond forfeits, bonds, and fines that by law, by the Constitution, has to come back to the school board. And I'll say that's about normal, what you normally do. It's around $85,000 to $90,000.
You got an increase in that, Chris?
I got an increase?
Yeah, I got one last week. First one in years. First one in years. It was a nice one, didn't it?
Well, the DA will treat you.
Thanks for doing your part to support the
I try to support the county and schools best I can, yeah. Hey, if you don't think it's a system, I got 14 letters within 3 days from attorneys.
Thank you so much.
Hey, it's a business, my man.
Oh, the ticket? Oh, yeah.
Bryce, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all have a good night.
Thanks.
All right, I call the meeting to order. I want to welcome all visiting guests. Happy New Year. Hopefully have a good, proper year. Already started out right. You get a half a day tomorrow. You're going to count it as a full day. Candace, we do have a quorum present. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of December 4th, 23 minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Yes. Approval of January 8, 24 board agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, board recognition.
At this time, school board members, we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for serving our schools, our school communities, and our families. It means a lot. It sometimes can be difficult in a small rural county because you're connected to so many people. But on behalf of the teachers, the students, and our principals, I would just like to say thank you. And in honor of School Board Appreciation Month, we have given you a small token that you'll find at your seats, and we ask that you continue to do your very best in serving our kids.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
School recognition.
Next, this is very exciting. All 5 of our schools have been honored by the State Board of Education. State Superintendent Catherine Truitt, we've received a letter in the mail. All 5 have achieved or of MET growth, Jones Senior High School for its graduation rate, and the school district for its graduation rate. In the next coming moments, I will call each school principal up. I'd ask you to remain standing up front until all of your peers have received their award. Michael Parker will be taking your picture so we can honor you and recognize you. We know this is not just a principal award. Our teachers are amazing. This does not happen 100% countywide or universally if our teachers aren't doing their jobs. So initially, I'd like to call up Donna Higgins from Comfort Elementary. Mandy Gillis from Maysville Elementary. Stella Downs from Pollocksville Elementary. Joseph Noble, Trenton Elementary. Dr. James Parker, Jones Senior High School. And also for achieving outstanding graduation rate of 95%, Dr. James Parker and his staff at Jones Senior High School.
The tallest and the shortest.
Do the same one.
I don't know which one they got. I'll look for code.
Alright. Do not smile, but I do. Mr. Marquis' photo on back there. Thank you. This way, Joseph. Thank you.
Teachers attendant recognition.
Good evening, board members and guests. Jones County Public Schools continues to honor the school with the lowest average number of teacher absences each quarter. Teachers and staff at Maysville Elementary had the highest attendance rate during the second quarter. And at this time, we would like to present our traveling trophy to the staff and teachers of Maysville. You gotta come up front, get a picture. Everybody come up front. Somebody can hold the trophy. Yeah. They're here in front.
A trophy.
There you go, there you go.
Whatever works.
Look at you.
Whatever works.
Good job,
All right, and we're smiling, and Mr. Brown is happy that. Okay. Hopefully one of those.
There you go. Finally.
We'll put this right
I remember that
beside
took
our-
the point of There you go.
Turn your head away. Hey, whatever works to the point where we had a lucky pair of underwear. We wore for a year and a half.
Don't tell me you didn't have a lucky drawer. You don't even know what we were talking about.
We heard it.
They have
We were talking about the trophy for attendance, and I was wrong.
Yes.
Huh?
Good.
That came later.
Good.
That was after the trophy.
Public comments.
I had nobody for public comment. Everybody's happy.
For this 15
We're
minutes.
going through our discussion items, athletic updates.
So happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. We've done a lot so far this school year with Jones Senior High School athletics. And I'd like you to have an open mind as we talk about this. Our tennis team, they were 7-5 this year. We had 4 individuals make the North Carolina High School Athletic Association individual tournament, state tournament. We also, our team advanced to the 3rd round of the state playoffs. I think that's the farthest they've been in a while. Volleyball, they finished with a record of 4-16, but on a positive note, that was more wins than they had last year. So they're moving in the right direction. Men's soccer, which is a sport that we added this year, first year ever. They finished the season 12-6. And the team advanced to the 3rd round of the state playoffs as well. That was a really good job by our coaches and our athletes. Our boys basketball, they're currently 8-4, and they won their Christmas holiday tournament this year. Our girls are currently 4-7, and that's already 2 more wins than they had last year. So we're moving in the right direction there also. Jones Senior High School was recognized by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association as an ejection-free school last year, 2022-23, which is really good. A real mower was purchased last fall to cut and strike game fields. We added 2 new sports, men and women's soccer. New home uniforms have been purchased for all teams for this year, 2023-24, which is outstanding. Jones Senior High School also received a Bates grant again, and some of that monies are allocated to help pay for game officials throughout the year. I'd like to thank the Bates Foundation, Dr. Parker, and Ms. Hines for that, because without the money that we received from them, we would not be able to afford all the things that we have purchased so far. Some of the items we've used or bought, all the essentials for every team has been paid for so far this year. Everything. They don't need anything. That's already been paid for, and it's only January. We got a new volleyball net system, new washer and dryer. We paid for 3 DOT physicals and licensures for our coaches to be able to drive their activity buses for those who didn't have licenses. Bleachers have been pressure washed. Fields have been fertilized and sprayed multiple times. Basketball floors have been waxed. Senior banners for fall sports have been purchased, and winter and spring sports are still coming. Field paint, field all, make all the lines. That's a big deal for us. We have the huddle and the NFHS video system for our football, soccer, and basketball. That's been purchased. And reconditioned football helmets that needed. In total, there's been about $50,000 spent already. And we get some monies from y'all. We've done that through the help of y'all. And there's probably another $10,000 or $15,000 left to spend on athletic purchases. And that's all going to be done this year with the help of y'all. A lot so far for Jones Senior High School, with the finish of winter and spring sports still to come. Which brings me to the future for 2024. And I'd like to talk to y'all about football. I'd like to provide you with some information for consideration. So just, if you'll bear with me and have an open mind on this, and we can move forward. Over the last 8 years, we have been a combined 1-53 playing varsity football, and 2-8 as a JV team in 2021. In 2019, we went 0-11, with having to forfeit our last 5 games due to the lack of healthy players. Although our recreation department has tried to promote and have youth football, they were unable to field any teams in 2023 due to the lack of interest, and only 1 flag football team and 1 tackle football team in 2022. That's youth football. Our middle school team is when a majority of our students are first introduced to organized football, and in my opinion, 2 years is not enough time to develop and prepare students for varsity football. If we play JV football alone, only, our conference bylaws do not allow for seniors to play JV football. Our roster last year consisted of 26 players, with about 10 to 12 of those student athletes never playing on a football team before, leaving about 14 to 16 players to compete on offense, defense, and special teams, never coming off the field, increasing the risk of dehydration and injury. This past season, there was contemplation of forfeiting our last 3 games for the lack of player eligibility due to injuries. We had 18 players left on the sidelines who were healthy enough to play, but the coach himself was concerned for some of the players' safety. Our goal as a school and as an athletic department is to give our student athletes the best opportunity to success. And I'm here tonight to get your thoughts and hopefully your approval to allow our football team to pursue moving to 8-man football. I'm not asking for this to be a long-time solution, but I do think until we have better youth turnout, better youth development, and some success with 8-man football, then we could possibly return to varsity football in the future. Based on the research myself and the late Coach Greg Hampton conducted, and speaking with the North Carolina Independent School Athletic Association, we would be allowed to play 8-man teams willing to play us, but still be a part of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association with all other sports. This is possible by submitting in writing a letter to the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and our conference president, a letter informing them of our intention of opting out of 11-man football. And it has to be signed by Dr. Parker, myself, and the head football coach. The benefits I see to this move is I feel it would give our student athletes a greater opportunity to succeed. I feel it would give our student athletes a greater opportunity to boost their morale. Less players on the field would hopefully lead to less injuries. This year we had multiple concussions and 5 season-ending injuries due to lack of skilled players. Less players playing both ways and never getting a rest, which would also hopefully lead to less injuries. I feel it would give our student athletes that are less skilled more time to develop. It could revive our football program and give our players, parents, and fans something positive to look forward to on those Friday night lights, under those Friday night lights. And lastly, with the decline of youth development and numbers, a varsity team of 26 is tiny. It's a small team. But an 8-man team of 20 to 26 is a large team. Friday nights in the Boneyard will be business as usual, and we will schedule games for the 2024 season with home and away games to the best of our ability, and look forward to a more competitive and successful year. If approved, and with your continued support, we hope to see you and the fans in the stands cheering on the Trojans. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mr. Walton, any questions?
Would it be too much trouble, Mr. Wagner, for you to get that in writing to the board so that I would love to have a sort of that in front of me to kind of go off of, and then maybe explain things to some other people who are going to come with questions towards us.
Sure.
If you could get us a copy of that in writing or some a version of that, so that we could be able to explain it to the public, because I think I'm anticipating a little bit of problems, but I don't personally have a problem with it, because it makes perfect sense when you say a 26. We played Craven County 3A, 4A ball in middle school with 23 boys and a mad girl.
Sure.
And had a tough time doing it. Had injuries doing it, not a lot, but it would make a huge 8-man team. It's exactly what you're saying, but I would love to have your experience draw on when I talk to people,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
I'll also tell you this. Last year we had 10 freshmen, 5 sophomores, 7 juniors, 4 seniors. 4 seniors are gone. Middle school team probably had, you were out there, 12 to 14 kids.
It was right around 15, floating 15, depends on who was behaving and who weren't.
And 6 or 7 of those were 8th graders. Even if we have every one of them show up, we are still only going to have 12 juniors and seniors on the team playing varsity teams. In other areas that have large youth programs, they have JV teams. They have to go from middle school to varsity football. And it's really not fair to them, some of them.
How would that affect the middle school? Would they be able to play 8-man?
I haven't looked into the football to that. I wanted to try to bring this to y'all's attention and see how y'all felt about it before I kind of went any further about it.
Yes, sir.
I have talked to some parents, and they're not opposed to it. They were there watching the games last year. They saw it. We've got skinny ninth grade kids out there playing against, 18-year-old men that have been in the weight room for 4 years. And, that's where all the injuries are coming. That's where the concussions are coming. And when your skilled players get hurt, then you're to the players that aren't skilled. And, then they're more likely to get hurt. Or just try to, not get in the way of somebody because they're scared. And I just feel like this might be a good option for us. Like I said, I don't think I want it to be a long-term thing, but until we start building our program back up and getting the numbers right and getting people better skilled, I think it's a good way to try to get better and move back into varsity football.
Tying back into what I said a while ago, when we were able to do that, though, we had a 5-6 year head start with youth ball to go do that. And we weren't teaching 3-point stance at 13 years old.
Right.
So it's not apples and apples. You don't have that anymore.
No,
It's a deficit.
When they get to the middle school, we're starting from scratch.
Yes, sir.
And you only get them for 2 years, and that's not long enough to get them ready to play varsity football.
Yes, sir.
But I'd be more than glad to get you this.
Thank you, sir.
I'll have it to you tomorrow.
Just Mr. Marquez, and he'll get it to you.
That's good.
Thank you.
Do the ones that play soccer, can they also play football at the same time, or can they play one way?
Nobody's opposed to it, but normally this year they didn't. I mean, we just started soccer this year,
Right.
and the ones who had wanted to play football played football. The ones who wanted to play soccer played soccer. I don't have a problem with it. The only thing that bothers me about that is, who gets the practice time. Mm-hmm. Then you're still worried about hydration because soccer's a lot more running than football.
Right.
So, they're
I just wondered if one took away from the other.
No, one didn't really.
Hmm.
Not really. Not this year. Not.
I know the trouble we've had on the rec side about trying to get participation just out of the parents, and it's not happening.
Well, I think what I've noticed here is like, how can I say this? I think parents are scared of letting their kids play youth football. Not 100% of them, but they're out there playing soccer, so there's less likelihood of injury than when you put the pads on, you're playing football. So that might be why you're not getting as much support with the football as you might be getting with another sport.
Are all the coaches that are involved in football kind of behind this? They feel like it's a good idea, or you have to kind of up in the air?
So
is that a bad question to ask?
No, it's not. So it's fair. I talked to Parker about this. I talked to him before he left. Talking a little bit with Mr. Marquis. And I talked with Coach Sellers. And when I had a conversation with Coach Sellers, he's a football coach. He wants to coach varsity football. I get it. And it was a no immediately. Hey, if this is going to happen, I'm probably going to leave. However, when I discussed with him a plan of this not being a long-term solution, this is just something to better prepare our kids and get them ready. And when we get numbers and get our skill level back up and he can get them in the weight room and get them bigger, and, then we could transition back to varsity football. And I was thinking it might be a good idea because we don't start, not this coming year, but the year after, there's going to be a realignment anyway. And hopefully we'll be in a new conference. And if we're not, it's okay, but I'm anticipating us having different teams in our conference. And if we could get a couple years of 8-man football and start getting a little success, and these kids start getting a little bigger and faster and stronger, and we start getting a few more kids, then maybe we can transition back into the varsity football in our new conference. But what I saw last year and the 3 prior years I've been here, it hasn't been very successful out there on our football field.
I would just hope if we decide to go with the 8-man, that you'll get the participation you're anticipating, and somebody not going because they don't want to play 8-man, they'd rather play varsity. You know what I'm saying? Player wise. And I just hope we get that participation if we go that way.
Well, as I said earlier, we had 26 kids out there this year. And let's just say 6 of them don't want to play because it's 8-man football. You're still going to have your kids coming from the middle school. And like I said, 26 on a varsity team is a small team. But 20 on a 8-man football team, you can have a full practice. I haven't heard anybody tell me they didn't want to do it.
Right. Well, I think it'll build a lot of confidence because the playing skills at some of the other 8-man schools are going to be probably not as good as what we have already. From what I've seen, on the Friday night blitz.
Sure.
So I think it would probably be a good thing. That's all I got. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Fial.
As a former athletic director, I'd like to praise you for considering this. I could see this possibly happening a few years back. It is a safety issue for our kids, and we want the very best for our kids. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't want the very best for our kids. And I certainly would agree on what you have said, that getting a couple of years or 3 with 8-man would certainly, hopefully, encourage more of our young men to come out to play. It's dangerous, the way we've been putting them on the field. And we've been blessed that we didn't have more serious injuries than what we've had. So
Yes, ma'am.
I am not afraid to say at this point that I would be willing to go to 8-man until we can get some more experience on this team.
Ms. Burr.
First of all, I want to thank you for looking at the safety of the children, because I sat in the ambulance on EMS standby and watched our team run out and watched another team run out and thought, that is grown men and these are little boys. And it frightened me. And honestly, I thought, I'm going to hope I don't have to go on that field for any of these kids. We were fortunate at the times that I've been there that we did not, but that is a concern that I've had because these kids are so small. I don't really know that much about football, to be honest with you.
It's okay.
Softball, basketball, I got you. But football, I know basics. I know it's a tough sport. It's a dangerous sport. All of them are dangerous, but this is a more contact dangerous sport. And I very much appreciate your looking at the safety number one. And that's what we want to make sure of first of all, regardless of whether we've got an 8 or a 12 or 10, whatever, the children's safety comes first. With that being said, I know that there are some kids that were, some of our larger boys that have always played that chose not to play this past year. Have we interviewed them to inquire as to why they chose not to play? Were they just taking a break, just didn't want to, or do we know why?
We do, but I'd rather not
You don't have to tell me,
explain that reason.
but I'm just wanting to, yeah. I'm just curious, if we've looked at the bigger children as to why they chose not to. and interviewing, the ones that would have made a bigger presence body wise.
There was some of them decided not to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had a kid who was probably going to be the quarterback as a junior, but he had a concussion this summer, and it was his second one. It wasn't football related. It just, he wasn't allowed to play. Some of them weren't eligible. And some of them didn't like some of the discipline that was going to be different. And they just, and there's maybe a couple other reasons, but I'd rather not get into that.
And my next question is, what can we do to encourage these children to want to play, to be better prepared to play, and to build them up, such as, there's clinics with Game Changers that they have. They're constantly doing something with these kids with football to build them. And there's other clinics and things. Can we bring clinics here that are not cost-wise? I mean, what can we do to build these kids up?
Well, after my plan was, after I came and brought the idea to y'all, whether we were going to or not, was sit down with the football players and the coaches and just discuss why we're thinking about going in this direction. And just go from there. Like somebody said, some of them might not even want to play 11-man football or 8-man football. But those were the kids that were probably leaning towards not playing 11-man football anyway.
That's true.
And then just, just kind of talk to them the way I'm talking to y'all about, this is why we're feeling about going in this direction. And, some of the kids that are going to be in that room, last year was their first year ever playing football, and they were freshmen, juniors, and sophomores. So they're going to understand why I'm going in this direction. And, we've already, in speaking back to the coach, after we talked a little bit and kind of met in the middle, and he understood why I was leaning towards this direction and thinking about it, was, we look, and there's about 20 to 22 schools that are in driving distance. That is an hour and a half maybe, but there are teams we can play. That's all I looked into that before I even started thinking about presenting to you. And one team, Coach Sellers even has contacted one coach, and in the anticipation of us maybe going in this direction. And there's even a little conference that they've already formed up around like Madam Mesquite. And there's like 4 or 5 teams in that conference. And he even mentioned something about, if you do this, why don't you just join our conference? So, I just looked at it as the injury, and I've seen it this is my 4th year at Jones Senior High School. So over the last 4 years of watching this program, I even watched them play the JV schedule, and there wasn't a senior we had on the team because we went to this JV schedule. And I think Coach Hampton even saw this, 2 or 3 years ago, and he had already started talking to me about it. And, then we just kind of got our heads together and, started looking at this idea. And after I talked to y'all, depending on which way we go or which way y'all decide, I was going to talk with the coaches and the players and try to get their idea and input and see what they thought.
Well, the safety of the kids is my number one, and I really commend you on that. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for your presentation and looking at kids' safety.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the questions I got, and I got you on the camera, so you can answer the question that we're gonna get from the people. Your thought process on this: how does this solution fix the future? What is your thinking on that?
Well, I'm hoping that the field's going to be smaller. It's 40 yards wide. It's 80 yards long, and I'm hoping even if we go to 8-man, we're going to have some success. We might not have some success immediately, but I think as our kids get older bigger, more skilled, and we start seeing some success, then we're gonna see some more kids wanting to play. You know,
But I heard you say that you can't teach them in middle school. How does this fix that?
so I'm hoping that I can talk our head coach and some of our assistant coaches to maybe helping out with some of the rec program and maybe holding some youth clinics so they can get involved with our program, get involved with the rec program. And that way, you know, when kids go to the game, hey, yeah, that's that coach that was trying to teach me how to do whatever. And I'm hoping, I don't know if this is the fix, but I know what we're doing isn't working. And I'm hoping that I can get them aboard and be willing to help some of our youth and get them involved.
Is there any fear of losing students to other schools because they can't play basketball? You know,
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. You know, I think with the boys, and I'm just going to throw my son out there. I think it was more about him and the camaraderie he had with the kids that he was playing with. Now, did they like winning? Yeah, they like winning. They won a lot. But I think with him, it was more about being with the kids and his buddies and all being around each other, working together. And, you know, the ones that want to leave, they probably weren't part of that program anyway.
And I don't know if you researched this far, but there was talks of 8-man back in the day. Only the downfall side of that I saw at that time was they wouldn't let us in the playoffs if we didn't bring all the sports teams there. Is that still the case?
So when I talked to the president, Omar Rodriguez, with the North Carolina Independent School Athletic Association, and I talked with Trey Waters, who's in charge of the football side at High School Athletic Association. You know, Trey understood. Omar understood. And no, there will not be any playoff possibilities for football because you can't be a member of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Independent School Athletic Association. And if every team went into that association, then we would be eligible for the playoffs. However, I'm not trying to fix all the sports. I think we're pretty competitive in most of our sports with the High School Athletic Association. So with football, I know we might not be able to get in the playoffs, but with us, it's more about getting our kids more successful and more skilled and more prepared so they can eventually maybe go back to varsity football.
Right now, you're just fighting for survival of a program.
Well, I
I
think
mean, I understand you.
I think, you know, what I was thinking about was I think if we don't try to do something, then we're not going to
We're
have
gonna lose it
football.
altogether. Yeah.
I think, you know, in 2 or 3 years, we'll just have the lights on for soccer.
And my last question ain't got nothing to do with the 8-man, but since you gave an athletic update, and you can explain this as well,
Okay.
because I get the question all the time. Why don't we run our own concession stands anymore?
You mean like when we had the food trucks and
correct.
so Coach Hampton, so I'm not trying to speak for him, but I know that it gets harder and harder and harder to find people to work concession stands. It's not that they don't want to, but you know, you're talking, it's a long day. I mean, basketball, for example, I'm asking somebody to be in there from 4 o'clock to 8:30 at night. And they already work all day. So he thought it might be a good idea to just try something new and get the food trucks and the Snoop Dogs, the guy that sells the hot dogs. And, you know, those people do contribute back to athletics. They give a percentage of that money back to athletics. And in the long run, they were giving us back enough of their sales to offset us selling the stuff. So he wasn't losing money by doing that. And, you know, it gave him a chance to maybe have less people in the concession stand that were willing to work. And, you know, he just tried it this year. I think last year he tried it in the spring with the hot dogs, and then it was sort of successful. So he was just trying something else, and it was less stuff for him to buy, prepare, save, you know. And it was you know, he wasn't losing money by having them out there, and so he just continued it to try in the spring or in the fall this year. And the same thing happened, you know, even though we didn't sell our own hot dogs, Snoop Dogg sold enough hot dogs and gave us enough money to make up the money that we might have made selling the hot dogs. So, and all the other ones gave a percentage of what they sold. So in the long run, he didn't lose money doing that way. So he thought it would be, you know, a good idea.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for your time, and I will get this to y'all, half a day tomorrow, probably not do all that. I'm just kidding. I'll give y'all something by Wednesday. How about that? Do you want me to bring it up here, and then y'all can get it from here? All right, that'd be great. All right, thank y'all.
You'll have it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
All right. Discussion item B, request to deem property as surplus.
Good evening, Chairman of the board member, Mr. Marquis. I just want to talk about, we have 2 activity buses back here in the bus garage. We're looking to get back to the county. It's 8010 and 8019. One is a 1990 model, one is a 2000 model. We're no longer using them here. We don't, with the maintenance trying to keep up, it would just be too much for us. So we want to give them back to the county. They do run and everything. I talked with the guys, they do run and everything. So if we get back to the county, you know, it will be on them to see about how they want to move forward with taking the buses, getting them off the premises. But it's sitting there, because if they keep sitting there any longer, they're gonna just get worse. They can get worse and worse when they sit there when they're not running. So we just want to see about how y'all feel about we would get the buses back to the county. If you got any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Mr. Lawson,
No, thank you.
Mr. Griffin.
How come we can't put them on gov deals? I mean, I know about that because it's not the same as land properties.
I'm to be honest, with me being in transportation as long as I have, I've dealt with that before. You get people sometimes going to go up there, they're gonna say they're gonna get them, then they don't show up, then we still stuck with them.
Do we get paid? Did you get paid for them when they did that?
Half the time you don't see that money. I've noticed that in the past when I was in Scotland and more. We never seen the money. They said they're gonna come get them, and you're not gonna get the money until they come there with that cashier's check, and they would never show up. So then we had to go back and repost them again and stuff like that.
What, if the county said they would take them, would we surplus them?
Yes, they have. They've been wanting to take them, and I think with the program they've been doing over the summer, I think what they were looking at trying to put them on the road with that. Although we did allow them to use our bus and was charging them for using activity buses here when they used them over the summer. So that would be something perfect for them to have their own buses.
What were they using the buses for?
It was just some field trips. They had some little field trips and stuff, and you can, with that being with the county and stuff like that there. But with them getting over their back, that will get them their own buses. They will have to oversee it, maintenance wise, fueling wise, that will be all on them.
I'm good with it. I mean, rec department might use them.
Yeah, but that's where
That's what I'm
That's what
saying.
they do. It cure a lot of
Same call.
transportation problems.
Ms. Villa.
Yeah, you just don't know how proud I was when that 2020 showed up and we had that 5-speed. We were having to go through Jacksonville and everywhere driving. That 2020 was a luxury for us. First air conditioned bus and everything. So it's passion for me with that 2020. But hey, I say let's do it.
Ms. Burr.
No questions.
Thank you. Department update.
Sure. Board members, you've been shared the department updates for the month of December from our directors. I do have a couple things to highlight because we have some folks in here that have contributed to that as well. I do want to commend Miss Laura Park. She's our new EC director. She's not present this evening, but one of the bridges she's initially started to build is meeting with the principals individually to assess what's needed with exceptional students and student services. That's a huge partnership between the principal at the schoolhouse and the EC director, so I want to thank Laura Parks publicly for doing so. The other is Miss Janelle Enstrom. She submitted all of our federal applications for federal programming and funding compliance. Each plan that she submitted has already been approved, and that's a huge task. She's a one-man band with federal programs, and so I'd like to thank her. CTE, Mrs. Lee and Mr. Will Sutton. They're planning a student career fair for February 8th at Jones Senior High School. This is a significant event for many of our students. A lot of planning takes place to make that happen. Again, that's on February 8th at Jones Senior. It's a CTE career fair for Jones Senior High School students. Last but not least is Miss Susan Brown, who's in charge of accountability and ADM, has shared the ADM and enrollment statistics from August to now. I'm pleased to say that our enrollment has maintained itself. We've actually gained half dozen students, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's definitely better than the alternative. You know, so we're thankful for that. Currently, our ADM is at 1,046 students, and that includes pre-K.
I thought it was 1,051. Let me just look at it.
Board members, do you have any questions or concerns?
Mr. Walsh,
No, thank you, Bryce.
Mr. Griffin,
No,
just for y'all.
Did you say 1,046?
it's
Yes,
just-
ma'am.
I got 1,051, 56 and 995. Is that 1,051?
That was the number she had given to me this morning.
Got used to it.
I'll have to give her grief tomorrow.
Yeah, give a brief.
That's like 25% of the teacher, it's 6 students.
Mr. Yap, any questions?
No,
Mr. Griffin?
no question.
I do. What's the new EC pre-K setup at?
Trenton Elementary.
Excuse me, where's the career job fair going to be on the 8th?
It'll be at Harry Brown Gym at Torrey.
Superintendent update comment.
Updates for you. We're going to begin with a few highlights. Again, I want to commend our principals, our school teachers, our school staff, everybody from the bus drivers to the maintenance crews. For all 5 schools, 100% of our buildings to be recognized by the state is significant, and we do not need to take that for granted. I also want to let you know that Jones Senior High School students and Dr. James Parker will be speaking at the North Carolina Association of School Administrators Conference in March. They'll be speaking to principals and superintendents on school discipline and also how to create behavior matrices as a principal. That's a huge honor. He was selected by Dr. Leslie Eason to speak at the conference.
When does that come?
It's in March. I don't have the exact date, but I can get that to you. Regional curriculum directors came to our PD center today. That's something to be proud of because we had folks from Onslow, Craven, Pender, Carteret, and they all ate at Aggie's today. And they also thought our building was beautiful. And so sometimes we take, again, for granted, we have people coming to us. They came to learn right here. And that's important. Janelle did a great job in organizing that. Last but not least, as far as highlights, when you see Dustin Wells or PJ, our 2 mechanics, we have 22 buses. We have 2 people. We've received information that they had the highest safety inspection rating in the state. They beat Wake County. They beat Charlotte Meck. Now, a lot of folks will say, well, that's because they have less buses. It's actually more difficult to get a low score on your inspection when you have fewer buses. They may not tell you, they may not share that with you, but if you ever have the opportunity to speak with them, please let them know they are doing an amazing job because they get our kids to school so parents don't have to worry. We're still continuing to work on our strategic plan. The reason for strategic planning, number one, is to be transparent so our parents and our family members know what is happening in our school system. The website, it's on the front page of our website in the upper right-hand corner. You can see it on the screen up here. If I were to click on it, our teams, our leadership team, our culture team, and our academic team gather data each quarter to make sure that we're monitoring progress. Two of the things that stood out as we met as teams during the last month is our teacher attendance district-wide has increased by 29%. So if you think trophies don't matter or recognition doesn't matter, I'd say you're wrong. Okay, but I give it to our teachers because it's very difficult at times, especially when we get in the winter, to show up. You know, people have colds, you get family members that are sick, but they've done an excellent job of being there for our students, and nobody can replace teachers. They just can't. They just can't. Student discipline referrals have decreased as a district by 22%. The largest area where we've seen the decrease is at Jones Senior High School. We've had over 100 less discipline referrals compared to the first semester of last school year. So that's something to be very, very proud of.
What was the percentage that you gave, Bryce? Had been reduced by 20-some percent?
22%. At the county level, at the central office level, and at school level, we're continuing to just make sure we're monitoring academic progress. We don't want any surprises. It's our job to keep an eye on how our students are doing and how our teachers are doing. We will meet at each school community in March. You all will be invited, community members will be invited, so we can share this with our school teachers, our students, and our student families. This is exciting, and I'm glad that he's here this evening. Emergency management, we have a grant that was written initially by Miss Danielle Bryant. It's being taken over by Miss Laura Parks, but as far as an emergency management coordinator, Mr. William Sutton has been named emergency management coordinator in partnership with Jones County Sheriff Department. We have resource officers at each school site. This is a state allotment. This is not a county allotment. I emphasize that. Okay. We do thank the Jones County Sheriff's Department for partnering with us. At this time, Mr. Sutton, would you like to speak on behalf of what the work we're doing in safety management?
Yeah, so I met with all the schools this week actually, and kind of get what they needed, and just to kind of see in what ways I could support them, and what the school system as a district could support them in maintaining our safety of our schools, and to make sure that, you know, when a student comes to the schools and to the buildings, they know that they're there, they're safe, and they're ready to learn. So having that safety will, you know, ease their ability to learn and have some academic growth and show some score that increases, and get some more awards. So
Very good. Thank you, Will.
Thank you so much, Will. Looking ahead, this is a lot for the parents that may be viewing in the community. Elementary benchmark testing will be January 22nd through the 26th. Make sure that students are going to bed early and they're trying their best. It's because this is how we monitor our progress and we allocate our resources. Finally, I've invited county commissioners through Mr. Smith that they need to visit our school sites. Board members, I do not want you to be offended, but I've asked if it just be myself, Mr. Smith, and the county commissioners, and I'll provide the information they need for each school site as we walk through. Upon acknowledgement, Kyle will let me know which dates work best each quarter. We have 4 school campuses, which means we can do 1 per quarter. I think that'll be significant to make sure that not only they see our teachers and our principals, but they see our students.
And we won't be there to antagonize them.
That's exactly right. You let them do that to me.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir.
Any questions, Mr. Walsh,
No, sir.
Mr. Griffin,
Thank you.
Not on this.
Mr. Young?
No.
Ms. Bird?
No, I'm pleased. I do have one question on the SROs. Have we checked in on Officer Nelson to see how he's doing and if they know when he'll possibly be back? And
The last update I received would be in the month of January. Now, Mr. Sutton, have you received any further information today?
I talked to Officer Odom, and he said it was either this week or next week, and that I think that Mr. Odom has been in contact with Ms. Gillis, and so we get back to Maysville Elementary. SRO back.
Yeah, I see.
I
I
love
see
it.
that cell phone. I see that cell phone. And my only comment, not a question, but I see that you're gonna have a community meeting. And I went to a couple last time. My only request, and I know we hate to stay late after work, but have it at a time that the community can actually be there. Gotcha. If we can think about that. Action item A. Budget amendment number 6.
Good evening, everyone. Before you have budget amendment number 6, and attached to the name adjustment page, there's also the detail that reports those adjustments that are being reported. Our net adjustment to our budgets for this month is an increase of $30,027.96, and that's a reflection of adjustments in our state, in our federal, and in our local grant funding. There have been some reductions in our state budgets. We are still slowly getting in our final allocations for our state PRCs, our federal, small adjustments there. The biggest increase that we had in this past month is for our pre-K funding allocation for funds that we've received in support of that program. Other than those adjustments, there's nothing else to report for our financial report, but I answer any questions that anyone would have.
Mr. Walsh,
No, thank you. I'm good.
Mr. Griffin, Mr. Young. Ms. Bird.
the only thing I have is I know we were getting into the holidays when we had spoke to the county commissioners and that sort of thing, but in that letter that was presented, obviously we probably haven't heard anything yet back from our state representatives on funding at this time or discussion of funding.
No, ma'am, I've not received anything back.
And are we halfway through the budget season? Anything that we should be aware of that's gonna be touchy at the end, or anything that we're gonna look like we'll be a deficit at?
Not at this time. I think we're in a really good position right now, especially since we still have our final ESSER funding for this year that will allow us to get through this year, I think, without any major problems. We will, of course, have to have a discussion as we get out of this fiscal year as to how we're gonna move forward, but I believe that we're in a good position right now.
Do we need to adopt
Yeah.
this budget? I'll make a motion to adopt the budget amendment.
You got a motion?
So,
Got a second? Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Don't we have to do action on the buses? Declared in
It ain't, but it ain't listed as action.
So
I think,
there,
he should be able to do it without.
there's a couple things that would come into play. You guys can vote to add something to the action agenda, and then what you would want to do is make a motion to declare them as surplus and authorize staff to go ahead and proceed with looking at the sale. It is going to have to be a sale. It can't just be given away. So that's, and depending on the value and who it might get sold to, might determine the method of sale that could be used. So I think at this point, you can either leave it as a discussion item, we could come back before the board to authorize it once we have some of that information, or you could make a motion now to declare it as surplus and authorize staff to work on the sale.
It sounds like he wants to get rid of it. I'm ready to make a budget amendment.
So we'll actually need two motions, because the first one will need
I mean, not a budget amendment, but
Agenda.
a agenda amendment.
the first motion we need is to amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to add to this, the surplus bus discussion and action.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
I'll make a motion to declare the two buses in question surplus and offer them to the county.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
You done?
We have to take fair market value for them.
Correct, whatever that means.
When it's junk,
Whatever that means, yeah.
it's 8.9.
Whatever that means.
Terms to be agreed to later.
Legally.
Hey, terms to be agreed to later.
All right, board comment, Mr. Walsh.
Do we actually have that motion made
You already voted on.
And
to declare it surplus?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Well,
I carry you
we're
back.
good.
you got that kind?
Yeah, you got
Say to the meeting.
We'll
say
see
to-
how it
Yeah. All,
You can write the motion like you want it, and we'll get through it.
Mr. Walsh, board comment.
Just like concerned, about the, end of year budget. Ms. Reedy, you were just talking about ESSER funds maybe be getting us through 2024. When are we scheduled to renegotiate with the county on the next budget? Doesn't that start 24, 25?
January 2025.
Okay. But you feel comfortable that we may be able to survive, I guess, until the end of 2024 and until that budget agreement comes in early 25?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Through June of 2024, I feel that we will be in a good position. Mr. Marquise and I, even before Dr. Pickton left, we were already having a conversation about what that's gonna look like once the ESSER funds are no longer on the table. So we're continuing to have those conversations. And I actually have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Blake Batchelor from the county for next week, just to kind of talk about how to move forward with getting ready for our county budget. So right now, I think we're good. We're in a comfortable position all the way through June, and we're going to continue to have the conversations on what the budget is going to look like after June 2024.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you.
Mr. Griffin,
I just want to congratulate Bryce for stepping up and being our superintendent. It looks like he's off to a good start. I like the way you're doing the updates. You know, it seemed pretty thorough, so looks like we're gonna do all right.
Thank you.
you good?
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, yeah.
I'm very impressed with the staff being here at the different schools tonight. Everybody was just so jolly and happy when I walked in, and it seems good. Not that we weren't before. I think we lost an outstanding superintendent, but we also have gotten an outstanding superintendent. So I feel like we're headed in the right direction, and appreciate everybody's hard work. And happy New Year.
Kind of indirectly homegrown.
I was gonna say homeboy.
Well, yeah, I think so. I'm good.
He's acclimated
Ms.
anyway.
Burke?
I'm just very excited about tonight in general of all the good news. I love to hear good news. Congratulations to all of our schools, teachers, staff, principals. We all know it takes a teamwork. We know it's not just your principal, it's not just this and that, it is teamwork. And teamwork makes dream work, and that's what I'm hearing tonight, and it's exciting. And I am excited to see Mr. Marquise here and sitting on this side of the table. And everything that he's presented, I mean, it's just awesome. And I want to make comment that the community and the citizens in front of everybody here, that the citizens and the community are very pleased that you are the next man in charge. And that says a lot because you've been here, they trust you, and they trust you with their children. And we appreciate that. I commend our, Mr. Wagner there, Coach Wagner, on looking at the safety of our children. I know it's a difficult decision to make, but, safety is concerning and first. And, I'm just really happy tonight. So congratulations, everybody. Looking forward to a great new year. And I'm sure that Dr. Thigpen is somewhere and enjoying his retirement. So that's all I have.
And one thing I got is and Mr. Marquis did bring it up is about the RISE program, and Mr. Sutton is here. I don't know if y'all familiar with the RISE program that we started here at Jones County. What does it stand for? Help me.
Oh,
The
real
RISE.
investments in student experiences.
So each company in Jones County gets an intern from a student for a semester, and they get to come and work at your job site. I think it's important that they can have the opportunity, because every student ain't going to go to college, and it's an opportunity for them to work in the work field and get a high school credit for it. But I think that's a great program that's been started here. Second, I want to thank Mr. Dockery, only director in Jones County that invited me to a Christmas party. I want to thank you for that.
He might be the only one to have one.
And also congratulate Mr. Marquis on the new superintendent. And I just think as we go forward, and a lot of folks hate me here to say this, but make sure you keep this about business and make sure you handle it that way. And you showed us detail of that, how you handle your contract. And I just think that's awesome. I heard everybody say, well, we ain't never done it like that before. And that's a bad thing to say. And you handle yours in a professional way that was all about business. And I feel good moving forward that you're going to understand that, even though it's education, but it's still a business as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
May I just say one thing?
No.
Yes. Picking
Out of order.
Mr. Marquis is the rightest we've been as far as public. Really, we have gotten some very positive feedback from the public. I think it's been one of the best decisions we've ever made from what we're seeing as far as, in other words, he's been unanimous with everybody we've talked to. So don't mess it up. We love you. That's a lot of pressure.
All right, we'll enter in closed session. In the statute 143, 318, 11A, 185, and 86 to prevent the closure of confidential personnel information. Motion to enter into closed session.
Make a motion.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor? We're now in closed session.
Come enjoy the rest of the evening.
Hey, go to the commissioner meeting.
I'm going to Creighton County.
Go to commissioner meeting.
I'm going to Creighton.